People tell us that we're invincible, that it's a case of mind over matter. At one point people wouldn't have thought man could run 100 meters in under 10 seconds. People think that breaking the 2-hour marathon barrier would have been impossible at one point as well, but that's only a matter of time. A man has just cycled around the world in 80 days. An incredible achievement. Yes, perhaps if we do put our mind to things, we can achieve them. But people aren't always able to put their mind to things. Heartbreak, relationship breakups, anxiety, depression, highs and lows happen on a daily basis. Some people aren't able to see the wood for the trees. People do suffer with depression. Next week, I'm doing the Extreme Stomp, raising money for the Scottish Association for Mental Health, Scotland's leading mental health charity. I'm doing about 7,500 steps, and I needed to prove to myself this evening that I wasn't worthless, that I could do it, and next week I won't let people down. I will be able to climb up and down every single step in Murrayfield and raise money for the charity. Last time when I recorded a vlog of me training, I had about 120 reasons to keep me going. The charity asked that we tried to raise £350 for the Extreme Stomp. So far, in the last couple of weeks, support from friends, colleagues, family, parishioners from my churches that I go to, people who've heard my story that I've shared. I now have somewhere in the region of 900 reasons to keep me going. The steps which I recorded myself training up and down a couple of weeks ago, I only managed about 20 or so reps last time. This time, as I said, it's 144 steps up and down, so to cover roughly the 7,500 steps that I'm going to be covering next week, I needed to do somewhere in the region of 50-51 reps. Now, I set myself a target of, even just trying to get 30, maybe 40 reps done. But I knew that I needed that final push ahead of next week. I knew that I needed to prove to myself that I can achieve things when I put my mind to it, and I need to celebrate those achievements. I needed to know that next week I would be able to get to the finish line. I've run marathons before, I've run half marathons, I've run 10Ks. But up and down steps takes its toll on you. It's mentally exhausting. It's tough on your legs, your muscles. After the last time, I was perfectly fine the next day, but 2 days later, I completely seized up. I stretched. I went for a run, but I was stiff as anything. I needed to prove to myself that I could get towards the finishing distance. I may have gone beyond it, I don't know. I may have lost count, but I ensured that I'd at least done 100 reps. And when I say reps, I was to get myself through it, I was counting 1 up, 2 down. So in total, I did 50 complete reps or 100 up and down reps. So I don't always celebrate my achievements, but tonight I'm going to celebrate that I managed to do this. I managed to push myself through it. And next week, I know that I'm going to be able to get through it and finish. I've not always celebrated my achievements. I really haven't. I've not lived life to the full, and I always, think the worst of situations, as most people do. I do suffer badly from anxiety, but people wouldn't think it because, I'm one of the most outgoing people that you would meet or know. If I would start a conversation, I would happily break the ice and so on, go across and meet new people, but me laughing and joking is just one of my many defense mechanisms. It's a wall that goes up, and it can be partly a facade, and it is a sign that something's not right with me and that it is my issue, and I need to talk about and discuss and explore this more. I don't feel I ever appreciate myself. I don't ever feel as if I'm good enough. The things that I do, I don't ever feel good enough. My achievements of graduating from university, getting through my qualification for work in payroll and things like that. It's like, oh, very good, you've achieved that. What next? There's far too many unrealistic expectations on ourselves, from people to climb that career ladder, to be married, to have children and so on. And these expectations are overwhelming and unbearable, and they choke us. They really do choke us. And it's only when people speak up or speak out about these things that the stigma behind mental health and the fact that you feel low and so on, would break down so many barriers. The more people that come out and speak about it, the more awareness that's raised about it. There's some shocking statistics out there. At least 2 people every day take their own life. Men under the age of 45, it's one of the biggest killers in men, is suicide from depression, because they feel they can't speak to people, because men traditionally, or they don't speak about things, they don't talk to one another, they don't talk about the feelings. It's traditionally women or girls that talk about the feelings and how they are, but men don't. They bottle things up, they stick the head in the ground or plough on to the next thing. And that's been my coping mechanism for getting through the separation with my wife and so on. And it's been an incredibly difficult 6 months, and I'm only just beginning to start to turn a corner and talking about some of these things with you as well. I wouldn't have thought that I would have been able to do that. I've stood up at my church and given 3 presentations about who I am and what mental health and mental health awareness means and so on. When I did those reps tonight to get me to almost the same amount of steps as I have to cover next week, I know I'm not allowed to listen to music or whatever, but I needed something to keep me motivated, keep me going, and the money that I've raised was one way of doing that. But I found myself listening to Desert Island Discs from Radio 4, and one of them that I found myself listening to over and over and over again is Andrew Flintoff, or Freddie Flintoff as some of you may know him as. He openly did a documentary about depression in sport and what it means, and he's openly spoken about his problems, and he did so in Desert Island Discs as well. And just hearing him talk about his story and what it meant to him and how he coped and so on, that helped keep me going, as did listening to some music and so on as well. There were people coming up and down the steps as well, and some of them were, cheering me on, and, that really did help. Look, mental health is a big thing. It affects all of us, our relationships, our lives. Everyone has some form of mental health, like it or not. There's only 7 days to go. I know I can get to the finish line. I know I can do this. I know I can try and make myself feel proud of what I've achieved, and, others proud as well, by having shared my story. But if the money that I raise can make a difference, then, that is one thing to be proud of. It costs £20 for the charity to run a session where they can sit and listen and discuss mental health problems with somebody. That's small change in today's world, but that will mean everything to that one person that needs it, to feel as if they're being listened to, they're being given that support. I've had counselling, and just to have that third person to listen, to dig in amongst that knot of emotions and try and begin to untangle that thread to try and put you back together again, or try and put you back together as best as possible. Please donate. If not to me, then directly to the charity. Please do what you can to help end the stigma of mental health, to change things. Society needs to change. There shouldn't be anything to be embarrassed about with our mental health. There really shouldn't. The link is below. Please donate. The link is there to the charity to find out more about their works. If you want to get involved, please feel free, and please don't feel you're alone out there. Be there for your friends, for someone who's in time of need. At the end of the day, we're all human. We're all on this earth together. We should work together. We should be there for one another. We should provide love, support, and help for one another. If you see someone in difficulty, go and speak to them, strike up a conversation. What one person portrays isn't necessarily how they're feeling. You need to read between the lines. Please donate, help me across the line, and let's change things. Thank you.